Welcome to One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm Dr. P, Wayne Purnell, your outfluencer and your powerful presence mentor. Thanks for joining me. I have had some of my audience members ask if they could see me every so often do an episode when I'm not with a guest. Well, here I am in my, excuse me, if you're listening to this, I am wearing a bright pink t-shirt, and I'm in shorts. I've not got shoes on. I'm not showing that to you. I'm not standing up for my viewing audience. That said, it's just me. It's casual in my studio. And I thought I'd just share with you today. I wanted to share that and give you a chance to say hello. So please, write to me. Let me know what's on your mind, what's up. What would you like me to be talking about? What kind of topics interest you? Today's topic is about leadership magic. And the magic is 5 key elements to you stepping into becoming a bigger and better you. I believe that each of us are leaders. We each, I guess grammatically, each is a leader. There you go. There's your grammar lesson for the day. I believe that each of us is a leader, and that we are watched. And if we are being watched by anyone, then we are certainly in a position to be a role model, and therefore certainly in a position to be a leader. And my belief is that we not only have a gift to be able to do that, like it's a pleasure to be able to do that, but it's also a responsibility. And so leadership encompasses 5 key traits. Now, in my last retreat, which was I call it the Stuck at the Top Breakthrough Retreat, and I just held that. In St. Louis just a few weeks ago. The next one is August 20th, going to be in Northern California. And during that, I premiered this 5-step program, 5-step process, into which you capture more of your life and step into becoming more of who you were meant to be. And the 5-step process is this, and this is why I call it leadership magic. M is mindset. You've got to get your mindset right. You've got to, and what does that mean? Right? You've got to be able to eliminate doubt like that when it shows up. Someone offers you an opportunity and you're like, I don't know. It's kind of big. It's kind of like, I don't know. And all of a sudden, someone else is going to take it, right? And you see somebody else doing it, and you're like, that could have been mine. I should have taken it. I should have stepped in. And so there's this mindset around courage. There's this mindset around why me? There's this doubt. And all of that comes from early conditioning. And so mindset really is about your being able to shut off the chatter that you took on as rules early on. What you were taught as a kid turned into rules because you gave it certain meaning. And typically, and I could talk for hours about this, and I'm pausing here to collect the exact words because I want to bring this down to you in this podcast form so I can get to the other steps with you. And I'll dive into each of them a little bit more deeply along the way. But this is the concept of you have struggled because of what you've been taught. And it's also because of the way you took on what you were taught. Because most of the lessons that we were taught were meant to keep us as children safe and or controlled. And now as adults, it's up to us to create safety, each of us, with each other, with ourselves. And as adults, it's up to us to let go of the controls so that we can truly feel full expression, full expression, right? So to step into the space of I've got me. And that's a mindset. That's all about mindset. And I dive into that deeper, not only in the retreat, but also in the Powerful Presence program, where we go through 5 different stages as well about communication and about relationships. It's pretty incredible. So 5 steps toward that. It's pretty great. Um, and it does start with mindset. Do you know who you are? Are you clear about that? That is also the C of the magic process, MAGIC. So that's mindset is the first one. Accountability is the second one. Are you accountable? Are you responsible? Do you follow through? And it's not just, well, you were given a report to write. Did you follow through and do it? You were told to take out the trash. Did you follow through and do it? It's more beyond that. It's more than that. It's about you being accountable to you. You said you wanted X something, right? You wished for something. Well, this is where mindset blends with accountability. You wished for it. Did you do anything that set forth a desire in motion? Did you make steps towards it? Did you hold it in your mind? Did you tell anybody about it? Did you talk about what you believe in? Are you stepping forward and saying, I declare, right? That's part of accountability is your ability to declare what it is you believe in. The third step is gratitude. MAG, mindset, accountability, gratitude. So here we go. How do you show gratitude? How do you show gratitude? How do you say, you know what, I am grateful? And it's like, well, I count my blessings, I say my prayers, I what? Right? Do you have a gratitude list? Did you actually ever make a gratitude list? One of the things I suggest is that you do that you truly think about making a gratitude list for yourself and put it in your journal. Grab your journal and write it down. Right, you're going to grab your journal and you're going to write down not just, well, I'm grateful for my family and I'm grateful for this. It's like, I'm grateful for my journal, right? It's like, I'm grateful for the embossing. It feels good. I'm grateful for, like, you could, and maybe as a practice might want to try, you write down 100 things for which you're grateful. And yeah, the first 5, 8, maybe 10 are going to be fairly easy. And by the time you get to 30, you're like, I'm grateful for this strand of carpet. I'm grateful. It's like you might feel like you're running out. And the truth is, if you actually do this and can write down 100 things for which you're grateful, it's amazing. And so, gratitude and living in that space brings you to graciousness. It brings you to having grace and feeling grace for others. There's this compassionate piece that happens, and then generosity happens from that as well. So I've got 3 different layers of the G in the magic process. And this is a broad overview. It's the first time I'm talking about it, and I wanted to bring it to my One Sharp Sword podcast. I brought it, as I said, I brought it to the retreat. I brought it to the signature Stuck at the Top retreat, which I'm now dual branding as Stuck at the Top / Leadership Magic. So that's because it's a breakthrough program. If you want more info on that, go to stuckattethetop.com, stuckattethetop.com. Okay, so that's the G. What about the I, MAG, mindset, accountability, gratitude? Inspiration. Now, inspiration isn't just being a cheerleader. Inspiration is about having some kind of broader strategic vision. Do you see yourself moving forward in the world? Do you see a bigger, brighter picture for yourself in the world? And my hope is that the answer is yes, that you can see yourself tomorrow. You can see yourself 5 years from now. Most of us don't look ahead like that. We're able to look back and go, yeah, I'm not who I was 20 years ago. Boy, 20 years ago was kind of good. I'm different now. That's kind of good. And and then what? And then what? Right? So who are you 5 years from now? Who are you 20 years from now? Can you look ahead and go, oh my gosh, the future? That future is so bright. And most of us are like, well, I'd like to have just a little more money next week than I do today. It's like, look beyond that, right? Because if you go to a parking space, open your car door, and you look down and there's a dime, ta-da, you've got more money. That's not inspiration, right? So you've got to be really drawing yourself towards something bigger, although it's confirmation, it's not inspiration, right? So you asked for more money, ding, here's a dime. Think bigger than that. Dare to think bigger than that. And when I talk about big dreams and inspiration, my big dreams, people are surprised to know that I aspire to inspire 1 billion people. That's a B, 1 billion people. And whether I do that directly or I do that through you talking about something you've heard from me, that the ripples are gigantic. They're amazing. And so the idea of being able to touch 1,000 people's lives, right? 100 people's lives, 1,000 people's lives, 1 million people's lives, 1 billion people's lives, like, it's huge and it's possible. And so I use myself as a model when I talk with other people. What about touching 1 billion people? What about having a certain thing or desiring a certain thing or building a certain thing in service to? So that's something to keep in mind. And I bring that to you under the eye of the magic process, right? The inspiration is part of you being able to inspire yourself to think even bigger. Think big, awesome. Now think even bigger. It's huge. It's I get all smiley and stuff when I start thinking about how big your world could actually be. The C of magic is clarity. Because it's one thing to say, well, yeah, I want to think bigger, or yeah, I see a bigger future for myself, or I know there's a bigger future for myself. And it's another thing to go, my future looks like this, like this, like this. I now know if I've got this future over here, I need to develop these skills. I need to hold on to these values. I need to create this routine of consistency in order to get to that place. So that's huge too, right? That clarity counts. You can't get to a place that you don't know. You won't know if you've gotten there. So you could head west, or you could get to a very specific cross point in Los Angeles or in San Diego or in San Francisco, right? It's like, I'll meet you west, head west. And it's like, well, where? Be really crystal clear about where you're headed. And that's the magic process. Get that clarity and start talking about it too. That's make a declaration in your world, make your statement to your world. So there you go. The leadership magic is inside of you. Leadership magic is a thing, and leadership magic is a process. And I talk about that both at the Stuck at the Top, stuckattetop.com, the Stuck at the Top retreat. Can you see that? Yep, stuckattetop.com. And I talk about it at the Powerful Presence online group program. So if you can't make it to a small retreat, and I do cut the admission to that, there's usually only 12 people in the room. So if you wanted to be in on that, you might want to hit stuck at the top right away just to hold your space. And Powerful Presence program starts May 21st. And it's offered a couple of times a year. It's 6 sessions over the course of a couple of months. And pricing it's so accessible. It is so easy to get. So if you want to join this online group program, there's that too, powerfulpresence.com. Leadership Magic is yours. You're amazing. You've stepped through and you continue to show up on the One Sharp Sword podcast to listen to this and to take it with you. So take some action. Take some action. It's time. You know it's time. That's what's cool about it, is it's time. So as you've got your listening device in hand, take the next step. What is the action step that you need to take? And only you know that, right? I'm offering you a couple of options if you want to continue your journey with me and go a little bit deeper with me. Certainly stuckattetop.com or powerfulpresence.com would get you there. And in terms of your journey, what are you building, right? So think about that and take your first step, your first next step. All right. Until we meet again, this is Dr. P. Wayne Purnell. I am the Outfluencer and your Powerful Presence mentor on One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. Thank you for joining me